on Sports Insider's The Spin, all eyes on Texas as the Bulldogs come to town. The Lions and Vikings battle for the top spot in the NFC North. And a Super Bowl rematch in San Fran. It's all next on The Spin. Hello, my friends, and welcome to this Sports Insider's The Spin. I'm Ali Melendez. And here, well, wouldn't you know it, we have another big week of football action for you. How about that? We know you love it. Yes, realignment in the college game has provided some pretty epic games so far this year, with this weekend bringing another marquee matchup in the new look SEC. While over in the league that plays for pay, honestly, does that line even make sense anymore? I mean, some of the college guys are literally getting paid more than the NFL guys, right? With NIL, with all... We'll circle back to that another time. I digress. The point is, we've got a great slate of action in the NFL as well this week, highlighted by a huge game in the NFC North, and of course, a Super Bowl rematch with the Chiefs and Niners in San Fran on Sunday. I know you're saying, girl, just get to the good stuff already. Okay, as Aaron Rodgers might say, relax. Although, let's be honest here, I don't know if he and the Jets should really say that anymore. He better start picking it up. Anyway, I'll send it now over to the guys in a second, but before I do, I just want to quickly shout out our friends over at BetOnline. You know, all of our odds here on The Spin are provided by BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and #1 source for everything football. So thank you to our friends at BetOnline. Mwah! All right. I've overstayed my welcome. I get it. Here we go. These guys are the best. With a look at the biggest games of the week in the college game, our own Drew Butler and Gabe Ikard. And Drew, I don't know what it is. I just have this really weird feeling I know which way you may be leaning in that big one in Austin on Saturday.
Thanks so much, Ali. Drew Butler here, joined alongside my man Gabe Ikard, taking a look at Week 8 of the college football season. It's the third Saturday in October, Gabe. I can't believe it. Time is flying by. And like Ali said, a big matchup in Austin, Texas this weekend. She thinks I might be going in one direction. You might be surprised at what I think about Georgia versus Texas. But first, let's dive in to a noon kickoff in the ACC. It's the 6th-ranked Miami Hurricanes heading to Kentucky to take on the Louisville Cardinals. Right now, Miami, a 3.5-point road favorite. Gabe, this total sits at 61 points.
I'm expecting this to be a great football game. There's no way that this game could come down to a controversial call at the end of the football game. That would never happen to this Miami team. But I think the Hurricanes having 2 weeks to prepare, to get a little rested with the bye week, I think that's a big advantage for them heading into this game. But I do expect Tyler Shuck and that Louisville offense to move the ball, score some points against Miami's defense. But the difference maker for me is Cam Ward. Yeah, I think you combine his talent, his willingness to take some risks with the football. You combine that with Damian Martinez and what they can sprinkle in with that running game for Miami. I just think that offense is going to be too dynamic, and Louisville just won't be able to match that. So I think it's going to be a really close football game, but I'm going to take Miami to cover the 3.5.
Seems like the time is now to really figure out which direction Miami is going to go for the rest of the season. As you mentioned, Gabe, the Canes are coming off a bye week, and boy, they needed it too. Late back-to-back come from behind victories. Of course, that Friday night thriller against Virginia Tech with the controversial call in the end zone, and then the valiant comeback effort out west in Berkeley against Cal. Two great quarterbacks in this game as well. Cam Ward for Miami, Tyler Shuck for Louisville. These guys can sling it. Cam Ward, 20 passing touchdowns on the season, and Tyler Shuck right behind him, 14 passing touchdowns for the quarterback from Louisville. I just have to think Miami looks to be the class of the ACC. Yes, Clemson is starting to find their stride as well, but can they live up to the hype? Can the Canes go on the road at noon? It's going to be a little bit more of a sleepy environment, especially for them. I'm not downplaying what the environment will be for the Cardinal fan, as this is a big one, but Louisville has been inconsistent this season. It's a big test this week. Miami's offense averaging 47.7 points per game. Off the bye week, Mario Cristobal has his team refocused. Cam Ward certainly in the Heisman conversation. I don't think this one's close, Gabe. I like Miami to win big. I'm going to lay the 3.5 with the Hurricanes. They continue their march towards an ACC championship game. All right, I said it. It's the third Saturday in October. You know what that means. It's Alabama, Tennessee. The 7th-ranked Crimson Tide are heading to Rocky Top to take on the 11th-ranked Volunteers. 3:30 p.m. Eastern kick over on ABC. And right now, Alabama, a short road favorite. They're laying 2.5 points, Gabe. This over-under is 56.5 points.
A weird feeling surrounding both of these football teams.
Yeah.
Right now, both of these teams could have and maybe should have lost last week. Alabama's defense is struggling. Tennessee's offense is struggling to find a rhythm and struggling to produce explosive plays like we've come to expect from Josh Heupel there. I like Alabama. I like them to go on the road and win this football game, and it's for one main reason. They've got Jalen Milroe, and Tennessee does not.
Yep.
Nico Iamaleava, he has not been able to find the success that a lot of people thought he would this season, and I think it has a lot to do with their struggles along their offensive line. They're struggling to block people. And I although I don't think Alabama's defense is what we traditionally think when it comes to Alabama's defense, I do think they're good at the line of scrimmage. The secondary has struggled at points in time, but I do think they're good at the line of scrimmage. So I think they can slow down Dylan Sampson in that running game and force Nico to put it in the air a bunch. And he just has not excelled these last couple games for the Vols. So give me the Tide to go on the road and cover.
Just a few short weeks ago, both of these teams had so much promise. They looked like two of the most exciting teams in all of college football. And heading into this matchup, I would say both sides are kind of scratching their heads. Keep in mind, Tennessee, through the first 3 weeks of the season, Gabe, were averaging over 60 points per game. The last 2 weeks, they have been shut out in the first half, both against Arkansas and against Florida. And on the flip side, Alabama hasn't looked right either since the second half of that Georgia game, one of the best games of the season. Of course, they allowed the Bulldogs to come get back in it. Yes, they lost on the road to Vanderbilt, which nobody can forget. They had a nail-biter a week ago at home against South Carolina. The biggest question here, though, is how is Tennessee's defense going to stand up against Jalen Milroe and Ryan Williams? Yes, we know Tennessee's defensive line. They've got depth. They rotate those guys in. That's the strength for the Vols on that side of the ball. But Nico Iamaleava and Josh Heupel have got to figure it out. They are just simply not on the same page. Tennessee has been heavily overvalued in the market as of late, not even coming close to covering their last 2 games, of course, with the outright loss to Arkansas 2 weeks ago. They need to lean on Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson, the Volunteers running back, one of the best in the league. He has 15 rushing touchdowns through 7 weeks of this season. I do think, though, that Tennessee's defensive line with the home field advantage can affect Jalen Milroe, slow down, and continue to frustrate this Alabama offense. Can Nico take advantage of a young Crimson Tide secondary? That is it. Tennessee has lost 16 out of the last 17 matchups in this rivalry. 2.5 points, a home underdog on Rocky Top. Give me the 2.5 points with the Volunteers. I think that is going to be a very close game, Gabe. All right, let's wrap things up with a top 5 matchup in Austin, Texas. It's the first SEC matchup between these two teams, the 5th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs hitting the road to head to the Lone Star State to take on the top-ranked Texas Longhorns. 7:30 p.m. kick over on ABC. Right now, Texas is a 3.5-point favorite. The total is 56.5 points. Gabe, you saw the Longhorns up close and personal a week ago in the Red River rivalry. What are your thoughts here, my man?
I think it's going to be a heck of a weekend in Austin. You've got this game on Saturday and then a Formula One race on Sunday. That place is going to be bananas this weekend. But just saw Texas in person, and I think they're the most complete team in the country.
Yep.
I didn't see a weakness. I didn't see any weaknesses when I was studying them on tape. I didn't see any weaknesses when I watched them dominate Oklahoma. So I think this is a tough task for Georgia. They are not playing dominant defense. They're still good on defense, but they're not playing dominant defense like we've become used to from Kirby Smart's group. And I think the argument can be made that Texas is better than Georgia on defense. And then I think the biggest advantage in this football game is Steve Sarkisian. I think he is as good as it gets in college football when it comes to throwing a ton of different concepts at you, building on those concepts, and just creating situations where his guys can go make plays. So I like Texas in this football game. I think they're the best team in the country, and I expect them to play well. Georgia just is not as complete of a team as I thought they were going to be coming into the season, and they've had some struggles offensively, had some issues with health at running back, and the defense just isn't where I think it needs to be for them to walk out of Austin with the win. So I'll lay the points with the Longhorns.
Yeah, the Dogs have yet to play a complete game of football. Head coach Kirby Smart has said that. A lot of the players have echoed that same sentiment as well. And Gabe, to your point, it's just not complimentary football. The week the offense steps up, the defense doesn't play well. The week the defense steps up, the offense has a very slow start. They are not helping each other. And when you're walking into the Lions Den, which will be Darrell K. Royal Stadium this weekend in Austin, it is going to be an electric atmosphere, no question about it. College game day in town as well. Get this, Georgia, just 1-5 against the spread this season. They covered against Clemson in the opening weekend, and they have not covered since then. On the flip side, Texas, 5-1 against the spread this season. If we know anything, odds makers don't just give away free money. So is there an opportunity to snatch up some value in this matchup? Texas hasn't won a game by less than 19 points so far this season. You can definitely look at the schedule and say, well, the Horns haven't played anybody, but they have certainly met expectations thus far, averaging 43.2 points per game, only allowing 6.4 points per game. So, Gabe, I am absolutely agreeing with all the sentiments that you just said of the Longhorns being the most complete team in football right now. The Dogs secondary, that's their biggest question mark. Texas will certainly try to take advantage of that. Quinn Ewers back in the fold. Isaiah Bond dealing with an ankle. He's day-to-day. Probably will be good to go. The public should be all over Texas in this matchup based on recent performances, based on all the reasons Gabe Ikard and myself just gave you. So when you look at the line and you see the Dogs getting more than a field goal, that hook becomes very, very attractive. I think this is a high-scoring game. I love the over 56.5 points. I think the Dogs can keep it close. They lose by 3. Give me the 3.5 points with Georgia. Everybody is going to be on Texas. I'll go to the other side and take the 3.5 with the Dogs. Should be an unbelievable matchup. Allie, I might have surprised you there with my analysis of the big matchup, the top 5 SEC matchup in Austin this weekend, but that's what we do here on The Spin. It's Sports Insider. Of course, all lines provided by Bet Online. We'll be back next week to continue breaking down what has been an incredible season of college football thus far. For Gabe Ikard, I'm Drew Butler. Allie, back to you.
Wow, Drew Butler with a little surprise. Okay, see, always keeping me on my toes. Who am I to judge? I absolutely love it. Thank you so much again to our very own Drew Butler and Gabe Ikard. Well, Drew will be back with us in just a minute with a look at the NFL. But first, as I mentioned earlier, all of our odds on Sports Insider's The Spin are provided by Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform and #1 source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat and matchup breakdown, all the latest and best odds for both college and the NFL. And BetOnline even has live odds during the games. So head on over to BetOnline and get in on all the action today. All right, it's NFL time, people. Drew is back, this time with a veteran of 11 NFL seasons, Anthony Becht, and of course, 2-time Super Bowl champ, Jonathan Casillas. The band's back together. What's up, guys?
Hey, Allie, back again. Thanks so much. Drew Butler here, joined alongside my guys, Anthony Becht and Jonathan Casillas, taking a look at Week 7 of the upcoming NFL weekend. Guys, it is flying by. There's no doubt about it. You're starting to find out who are the contenders and possibly who the pretenders are. And we're going to start with a division full of contenders. It's the NFC North. This seems like it could be the best division in all of the NFL. The Detroit Lions are heading to Minnesota to take on the Minnesota Vikings. 1 p.m. kickoff over on Fox. Right now, Anthony, the Vikings are 2.5-point favorites. The total here is 49.5 points.
Yeah, I don't think any of us would argue that the Detroit Lions right now are the best team in football. I think they have, this year at least, the best play calling offensive coordinator in the league, Kyle Shanahan, obviously just overall has been great over his tenure. But this year, and just leading in from last year, Ben Johnson has really got him going. I mean, the pass game, Montgomery has been spectacular. The way they utilize two backs. I mean, teams find it hard. Oh, we'll just use them in short yards, and we'll bring this bigger back or the quick. They know how to piece it together so they're most effective. And you know what? I don't really care too much the fact that Aiden Hutchinson's not going to play for the next 6-7 months. He's out for the year, right? I'm assuming with his injury. So they'll find someone to replace him. They'll find a try-hard guy that's going to give them effort and everything they want and going to buy into the culture. That's what they do. Now, is it going to be the same guy? Obviously not, but a collection of guys that fresh bodies can come in. Now, on the Vikings, on the other hand, their last game, obviously coming off a bye, was against the Jets. I really think they got exposed in a lot of areas. I think Sam Darnold came back down to earth. I felt like they were a trendy team because week to week to week, teams were just kind of not catching up to their hot streak. And I think a bye, actually, in my opinion, may not help this football team coming off. So I just kind of look at it that way. They got to prove that to me. They are at home, but man, I'm just telling you, I know the road teams that were dogs or whatever you're going to throw out to us in this number. There was a lot of success with some of these teams. I like the Detroit Lions. I'm going to take those points, man. I think they're hungry. They're trending in a good direction, and I just think that actually helps them play without having to buy and continuing to go because they got things in line. So I'm going with the Lions there. I'm going to take those points. Excuse me.
Hey, I'm with you, Anthony, man. The Lions are very impressive, man. Jared Goff looks phenomenal. 315 yards last week, several touchdown passes. And that all-star cast that they have at Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, those running backs that they have. But defensively, 5 turnovers, 2 interceptions by Brian Branch. They look real good defensively. I think Aiden Hutchinson is a big loss for them. Ali McNeil and company, he had 2 sacks last week. They have to step up. It's not going to be one player. It's always a collective effort when somebody like Aiden Hutchinson goes down, who is probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He was having that type of a year. And you look at the other side, the Vikings. Sam Darnold, like you said, I think he might be coming down to earth, but he's still got one of the best receivers in the NFL. The best receiver in the NFL in Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones. He is a capable dual threat running back. He's leading the team in rushing. He's second on the team in receptions, and he's always been good, but I think they're utilizing him, and I think he's the reason why they're going to have success for the year on out. But I'm with you. I think the Lions are the best team in the league right now, so I'm taking those points and taking the Lions.
Yeah, Detroit coming off a huge win at Dallas this past weekend, putting up 47 points on the scoreboard, only holding the Cowboys tonight. And the week before that against the Seahawks, the Lions put up 42 points. You guys mentioned all the weapons that they have on the offensive side of the ball. Yes, elite pass catchers in Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta. Anthony, you were gushing about the running backs. How could you not? David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, all led by Jared Goff. It reminds me of a quote that I heard the other week by Kirk Cousins, the Falcons quarterback. He said, "You throw to score, but you run to win." The Lions offense is built to do exactly that. And Anthony, I totally agree with you. I think the bye week for the Vikings, coming off that really kind of head-scratching victory against the Jets in London, it exposed them a little bit. Maybe the momentum does wear off. I know they're undefeated. They're 5-0. I'm most interested to see how Brian Flores is going to attack Jared Goff and Ben Johnson's offensive attack. Can the Lions overcome the loss of Aiden Hutchinson? That's the big question. There's no doubt about it. The look-ahead line was the Lions. I believe they factored in the Aiden Hutchinson injury to be 1.5 points. I'm just not so sure Aiden Hutchinson, yes, I know he's elite. Yes, I know he was going to be the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year, but I don't think he's going to negatively impact, or his absence negatively impact, the Lions to the tune of 1.5 points. So I see a lot of value here in Detroit. I think that hot offense continues to roll. Minnesota takes a step back coming out of the bye week, so we're all in agreement here. Take the Lions plus 2.5. All right, let's go to a great kick at 4:25 p.m. Eastern time over on Fox. It's a Super Bowl 58 rematch, guys. The Kansas City Chiefs at the San Francisco 49ers. Anthony, right now the 49ers are a short 1-point home favorite. This totals 46.5 points.
Yeah, tough game here. And I know you're going to reel off maybe some key numbers in this one, but Andy Reid coming off a bye. And again, you're going to have to correct
Big
me.
time.
I think he's 28-3 or something in that world.
Remarkable.
But those 3 losses, again, you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, came against teams that had a bye as well.
Wow.
So where does that factor into this whole thing? I don't know. All I know is this. The running game for the 49ers, it really seems to me like it really doesn't matter who's in the backfield. Now, no one's going to be explosive as McCaffrey is. And Mason's done a great job. So whether he plays or not, I know he's questionable. He has an AC joint. Okay, so for a running back, honestly, that doesn't just go away. You either play with pain, you shoot it up, or you take a couple weeks to let it subside. No matter what, you take a shot there again, it's going to continue to hurt. So how are they going to go about this? Maybe they'll just spread it around to multiple backs. But it just seems like every single game they find a way to rush the ball effectively. On the other side, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They're undefeated. You look at the stats sheet of Patrick Mahomes. You think they're probably a subpar 500 team. I think he's got just as many interceptions as touchdowns. But they are winners. They know how to win. Yeah. Their defense finds strategic points in the game to make big plays. They're on the road this week. Again, it's really a coin flip game as you look at it. And I watched the 49ers in their last game, just not really on par. Brock Purdy probably played his best game. And I just look at, what's the differences in this team. I think there's a physicality factor when you come out of a bye week, both teams. That may be the difference. And I'm going to lean on the home team here. And I'm going to go with the 49ers with -1 in this one, just because of the fact that I think a little bit of health, a little bit of rest favors a team that commonly plays more aggressively, and to me, that's the 49ers.
Hey, I'm with you, Anthony. Look, this game has kind of lacked some of the stars that that were healthy in the beginning of the season. They're out for this game, but they have potential stars on both sides. You look at the San Francisco 49ers, and I don't want to hear nothing about Brock Purdy being a game manager again. He's a really good quarterback. He may not be an elite quarterback, but he's a good quarterback, and he definitely is good because of the weapons that he has. And those guys are healthy, and when they're healthy, they do some things. Mm-hmm. So I think with the Chiefs, they've been kind of escaping some wins and getting away. Their defense has been holding them down. Their offense, is catching flow, but they're undefeated. So you cannot take that from them. But I think this is the first week where they get that L on their record. I think the 49ers right now, they're rolling a little bit of a revenge. A lot of bit of a revenge. This is not the Super Bowl either. So if it was a Super Bowl, I think I had to go with the Chiefs. But this ain't the Super Bowl, guys. The 49ers, I think, at home, get it done against the Chiefs.
Fascinating matchup here for all the reasons both you guys explained. I can't wait to see what Steve Spagnuolo throws at Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, in this 49ers offense. Yes, of course, not having Christian McCaffrey is a huge deal. And yes, what Kyle Shanahan is able to scheme up on the ground, it does not seem like it matters who is in the backfield. The Andy Reid statistics as an underdog against the spread and straight up, Anthony, they're simply remarkable. There's no doubt about it. Now you're telling me that they're going to be an underdog coming out of a bye week? I don't know. That could be too enticing to pass up. You got to love Mahomes more than Brock Purdy. There's no question there. And for whatever reason, this Chiefs defense just continues to be slept on. So many people look towards that Chiefs offense historically, at least over the past 5-7 years. They have been extremely explosive. Not exactly the case this year, but they know how to win. The odds makers are telling you this one is going to be a close game. Coming out of a bye week, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid as a dog. You're telling me I can get points? It might be the squarest play on the board, but I'll side with the public on this one. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs +1 at San Francisco. All right, let's finish things up with a little Monday night matchup. This one should be awesome. It's the Baltimore Ravens heading down to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time on Monday night, ESPN. The Ravens are a 3.5-point road favorite. The total here is 48.5. And just, I got to get this out there, guys. In week 6, road favorites went 9-0 against the spread. Wonder if the Bucs can hold it down as a home underdog here, Anthony.
That's how they suck you in, Drew, right there. Weeks like that. Well, listen, your Ravens are they the most battle-tested team right now? You could probably argue that they are. Lamar Jackson has had some remarkable feats. I think they started 0-2 and have won 4 straight. Derrick Henry leads the league in rushing, a dog. Him and Lamar Jackson in the backfield is just a difficult combination to stop. They've been phenomenal, and then that's why they're one of the best teams right now, the hottest teams, like the Detroit Lions on the other side of the conference. But, man, there's something about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got a guy like Baker Mayfield who throws 3 interceptions, but you know what? He does not care and gets 4 touchdown passes in the same game. And, oh, yeah, by the way, they rushed for 250-plus yards in this game as well. I just something about leadership, a guy at the helm on both really sides, both of these teams. I remember last year late in the season when the Eagles were considered a team that was really dangerous, and all of a sudden they're going to Tampa Bay. You know what? Tampa Bay whipped them. I'm not saying Tampa Bay's whipping them, but I will take those points with the Buccaneers as a home dog. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay and bet Baker Mayfield in this game.
Tampa Bay laid 51 points on the Saints last week, guys. I mean, and on top of that, they turned the ball over multiple times, and they still ended up getting 51. It was a collective effort, like you said, Anthony, rushing the ball. Chris Godwin is having an incredible year. He's first in catches, first in touchdowns, tied for first in touchdowns. He's having a resurgence type of year, kind of injury plagued throughout his career. And Baker Mayfield, man, you got to tip your hat to him from everything that he's been through in his career. He got those guys playing on the other side of the ball. 2 guys playing, getting the ball most of the time, and Lamar Jackson and King Henry playing like the MVPs that they are. I don't know when or if it's possible for King Henry to get the MVP nod, but he's playing like it. They're playing tough. Defense has given up some points. Their defense has been a little disappointing this year, being number 1 last year, and they're still really good. But I think this week, Baker Mayfield figures out a way to get it done. I'll take the home dog, man. I'm going with the Buccaneers.
Baker Mayfield does seem to be the type of guy that just thrives in that underdog role. He loves having that chip on his shoulder, and he loves to prove people wrong. Make no mistake about it. Heading into this matchup with reigning NFL MVP Lamar Jackson on the other sideline, Baker is going to elevate his game, and you have to love what the Buccaneers are able to do just week in and week out. They put a good product out on the field. Just 2 weeks ago, that Thursday night game against Atlanta, traded blows, went to overtime. Falcons got the ball first. They drove down the field. The Bucs could have easily won that football game, followed up with a great win in New Orleans. Again, a divisional matchup. This is a battle-tested team as well. Look, the Ravens, after their disastrous AFC Championship game a year ago, they went out, they got Derrick Henry. Clearly, they figured out that that's going to work. They've got the number 1 ranked total offense in the NFL through 6 weeks. But that Ravens defense, like you said, Jonathan, they are allowing some points to be put up on the board. So you have to rely on Lamar and Derrick to continue to chase points on the scoreboard and just outpace the opposition. I like what I'm seeing from Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving. I mean, the Bucs have an exciting brand of football. They are built like a team that could definitely be a problem late November into December. I think the Bucs are a playoff contender, no question about it. Lamar versus Baker, conventional wisdom would say take Lamar Jackson, but I love Baker Mayfield with a chip on his shoulder. This is a DB system play, a prime time home underdog on Monday Night Football. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 3.5 points. All right, guys, going to be an awesome weekend of the NFL. It's week 7. This is the Spin Sports Insider, all lines presented to you by Bet Online. For myself and Anthony Becht and Jonathan Casillas, Allie will throw it back to you in the studio.
Awesome. Amazing stuff as always. Super excited for all the action. So shout out once again to our very own Drew Butler, Anthony Becht, and Jonathan Casillas. Well, that's it. But before I sign off, quickly shouting out BetOnline again for supporting today's show. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and number 1 source for everything football. Oh, and hey, not just football. I mean, find all the other things you love and need for the NLCS, the ALCS, World Series, UFC, hockey, basketball, soccer, and all the things that you're looking for. You can find it at BetOnline. All right, my friends, and now it's time to wrap it up. Enjoy the big weekend of football and all your sports action. And of course, head on over to sportsinsider.com for even more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Sports Insider's The Spin.